This is Fred Beck from Fred Dots Fighting. I'm joined with Alexis, Demetrius, Dan, and London Shoot Fighters today. Alexis, I appreciate you having me down. I know you're a busy man. The gym's always the first time I've seen the gym completely quiet before the next load of sparring people come in. But you've been back for a few days now from Qatar?
Yeah, got back on the Saturday night and then went straight to Northampton for two more fights on a show, Battle Arena. It's actually really good fights. Both my guys won by KO, by body shots actually. Both knockout body shots.
I saw KSI post one of those guys, I think.
Yeah, I've had one of the kids, Max Cachet. He's flyweight. I think he'll be, if he fights in the end of this month, which we're trying to get him to do, he'd have had 5 fights this year.
Oh, pretty active. Nearly one every other month then.
Yeah, I think if you're fit and you're in shape, I think it's a great thing to keep progressing. Obviously, you get to a certain point and you have to kind of hold it down and start learning your craft a bit more. But I think at the beginning, it's very good to have as many competitions as you can if you're in a good role and technically looking good.
Yeah, very cool. The experience in as you can. Qatar though, your summary of it all. I take it you very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful place. Great hospitality. Great. Just a really cultured, really nice place to go to. And then the fight show, Misfits, was fantastic. Fights went exactly how I thought they were going to go. I thought it was a good fight card, quite well matched throughout the card. But the guys that were going to win looked like, for me beforehand, they were going to win. So
it's very rare everyone gets predictions completely right, but you only get one or two wrong is an upset, or if someone slips, someone dips, they're meant to dip or slip, whatever. But you got it completely right.
Yeah.
Clean slate.
Clean slate. Yeah. I think with the Papi and Kenny fight, I actually thought Kenny was doing a good job. As in keeping him on the end of his jab, pressuring him, but not doing too much, which is the way to do it. I think maybe he got a bit pushed into, I don't know if it was the crowd, his corner, or because he was doing so well. Sometimes you want him to do even better. But that's the only chance Salt has, is to slip on that counter. Your head's on dip to the right, and he's looking for the uppercut or the hook. That's the only thing he can do. So I was unfortunate. I think maybe he got pressured into working a bit too hard from whoever it was, from the crowd or whatever. But the idea was, I thought he was doing really well until that point. But that's fine, you know.
It wasn't Salt winning the fight until that point? It was Kenny up on the cards?
I had Kenny up on the cards.
Really?
Yeah, I had him up on both rounds. I thought he was controlling the fight. You've got to score it punches landed, going forward, who's in control. So you're scoring the fight on certain criteria. It looked like he was kind of cruising. It was quite easy for him until you go for a kill shot on Salt and he gets to step left and slip that backhand of yours. He's a counter punching southpaw. That's what they do. So just be careful with them.
No,
you know?
He kind of
early.
Yeah, no, it was a very brutal knockout for King Kenny. Ben Williams and Jarvis though, kind of odd ending where Jarvis kind of turned on his heel and I guess twisted his heel. It didn't break, but he twisted it, I think.
Ben twisted on his heel.
Sorry, Ben did, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I've been around boxing long enough to listen. He's a lovely kid and he's got a lot of power and a lot of potential. But I think he got to know himself on that day. I think the situation got a bit. He tried to power punch every single punch, and Jarvis wasn't going anywhere. Kept it tight. Kid was heaving for breath after one round, and I just think because he's got a good chin, he throws lots of power. I think he just thought he could roll these guys over. But these influencers are training like pro boxers now. They're training well, and you're not going to roll them over with one punches. So I think his cardio got the better of him, and perhaps he didn't want to be in there anymore. That's my honest opinion.
Do you think they'll do a rematch of that fight?
I think they should do a rematch. I think it's fun to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be nice for Jarvis to move on and progress, and then Ben to have another fight and then get back to it. I'm not a big fan of immediate rematches with champions when they only had the belt for one fight. If you've had the belt for 5 fights or 2 years, or you're holding it for a while, then you deserve a rematch for sure. But I think after one fight, can't really argue if you don't want to give him a rematch, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think Jarvis would be happy for a rematch.
Yeah. Certainly. It was a strong performance by Jarvis there. You can kind of see it was starting to go his way, the fight. And I reckon it goes for 2 or 3 more rounds, then Jarvis would have probably tried to force a stoppage. And then again, we got off the top of my head who was fighting as well. There's so many fights on that card. Chase, the first one was Chase DeMoor versus Kel was the first one. Did you catch that one?
I did.
Bit more of a sloppier one, but still entertaining one.
Yeah, I thought it's weird because yes, it's difficult with heavyweights because they're such big boys and they throw big power and they don't realise how tired they get on the event. So in sparring, you get guys like Chase. I'm sure he spars well in the gym. And just like I've had heavyweights that spar well in the gym, and then you get them in under those lights and they haven't got that much experience, and they just use their gas tank so quickly. It just looks so scrappy and untechnical and just undisciplined and a bit sloppy. But I thought they both need a bit of work both need a bit of work. But it was a relatively slow start and low pace fight for both of them. But again, I think that they're just starting out really.
And then you had the HS TikkyTokky and Wade announcement as well. Do you like KSI's promo skills?
I think it is what it is. It's sports entertainment. I think people have got to get the idea that you've got to invest in characters. You've got to understand the dynamic of the business, and you've got to appreciate the fact that these guys. It's not WWE is scripted, right? But the ending of these fights aren't scripted. So you can set a scenario up, but at the end of the day, two people are going to try and kill each other. And that's the attractive part of Misfits. That you get to have the drama show. You get to have the
facade.
Yeah, you get to have all the sort of the smoke and mirrors, but you get to have a fight at the end of it, which is the good part, I think.
Who are you backing in HS and Wade?
HS.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I'm sure Wade's got a lot more. I mean, I remember speaking to Wade, and he said he had some combat experience. We had some smokers or something. These are like amateur fights in California or I think he said that. Yeah. So I'm sure he's got some experience. He's been around fighting a lot. He's got a fight mind in that he understands. What people are doing wrong. He commentates a lot, so he's been around the sport a long time. Whereas HS hasn't got any of that. He's just a natural big puncher and knows how to fight. Been in fights, like been in street fights. Knows how to fight. So. I mean, you've got someone who knows the theory of fighting relatively well, conceptually, visually. Don't know about coaching or anything, but he understands combat. But then you've got someone that does it. So I think the person that does it has got that edge. And also, we wouldn't put somebody into a fight that wasn't prepared. Right. HS has got that fight. He's going to be doing a couple hundred rounds of sparring to get that done correctly.
And he'll be training properly.
Yeah, I mean, as if he comes through my doors, he'll be training properly.
So if you train him for this fight, he's done good. But if you're not training him, then you got no comment on the situation, really. Yeah. There's nothing to do with you.
That's the issue we have from a coaching point of view. As much as I like HS, and I think he's great, I think he's a super talent, and he's got potential. If you can't do anything with him, if he's not here, then it's all irrelevant, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if he comes through the doors, he'll be on point, 100%.
We'll see who I guess he ends up training with for that one. And then the main event, Gib and Slim. Did it go how you thought?
It went exactly how I thought. Yeah, exactly how I thought. I just thought that Gib would just be a little bit too cardiovascularly pressure, front foot for Slim. I think the issue Slim did is he didn't change any of his game. He's looking for that one shot. He landed it a couple of times, but it wasn't at the right distancing to make the right impact that it needed. There was a couple of head clashes that people didn't talk about. One really big one that dropped Slim, I think, and that had him a bit rattled all over the place. That normally happens with southpaws and orthodox, not orthodox to orthodox. So it's quite a rough. You can tell guys just leaning in with his head. But it went the way that I thought it was going to go. I thought he was going to win by decision or maybe stoppage later in the round.
Do you think if he had put his foot down, he could have forced that stoppage more, or do you think it's just being more careful?
I don't think he could have got a stoppage on Slim. I think the punch selection was quite obvious what he was doing, just winging that overhand in. But, he got behind his front foot. He just, a little bit of a bounce, so he's on and off, so Slim was missing, wasn't adjusting correctly. I just thought there was no urgency to Slim. I don't know whether or not his corner was telling him that he was behind in the fight. So you'd have to behave differently knowing where you were in a fight. That's the issue I think we're having. A lot of people don't realise it. When we get fighters that come back to the corner and we're like, yo, you're 3 rounds down. Now you need a knockdown. 4 rounds down. Now you need a stoppage to win. If you're not informative to your fighter, if you're telling him, yeah, you're doing great, get back on your jab, the fighter thinks he's winning. So he's not going to change much. So to be fair, I could see Slim in the ring say he thought he won it. I had him 7-1 down. So.
If you were Mams in the situation, who do you match Gib up with next?
Interesting. I mean, there's always the sort of Papi route for sure, but there's the Anthony Taylor route. Those are fights. There's the Ashley Rak-Su route. Those are the fights that you kind of want to go down. I think those 3 fights are the fights that you'd want, and then build him up a bit more. And once he's at a certain level, if he's beating everybody up and doing really well, then he commands a bigger fight. Then that's what he gets, a bigger fight, and that's the way to do it.
Did it annoy you throughout the whole week or the back end of the week? It was all Gib, KSI sparring rumours flying around the whole time, and it's still going on now. I mean, Gib went on the podcast of Cal Freezy and Chip, and he was saying that he kind of had KSI on skates one time, and I don't know. I don't think you guys were training KSI at this point, but and he was tempted to tweet it, but he didn't tweet it, and it's all flying around. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely wasn't training KSI at that point. All I can say is the absolute truth as to when he came in here. And he came in here with his coach, and he asked to do rounds with JJ. I said, well, we'll do a couple of rounds and see how you do. I'll have some other guys if you want to do more rounds. He was with his coach as well. So the idea, I mean, I saw this podcast where he said they shock tanked me.
That was the podcast I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a clip of it and I was like, well, that's lunacy. What did I do? Did I grab you by the ear and pull you into the boxing ring to make you spar? I can't shock tank anyone. Like, it's not my, you have your coach with you. You do what you want to do. I can only control my guys. He came to spar. JJ pieced him up, rattled him. I was like, there's just no point in any of this. Like any coach with from who's got a license would never let sparring go down. If someone comes to the gym and they're getting beaten up, you take them out straight away and be like, okay, yeah, I'll give you someone lighter. So I said, JJ, you're not getting anything out of this now. You proved your point. And he was like, yeah, I feel good. I was like, cool, pull you out. I said, is there anything else you want? He's like, I want to get some more work. Yeah, can I get his coach and him wanted some more work? I said, I've got a 61 kilo guy, like 135 pounds. Like, he's an okay boxer, but he's very light. I said, you can use him. They were like, yeah, sure, no problem. I was like, cool. That boxer moved him around for a couple of rounds. Then they wanted to do one more with JJ. I was like, it's not going to do any. Sure, but we're not going anywhere with this. Like, what do you want out of this? And JJ was like, yeah, I'll do one more. Pieced him up again. I was like, pull you back out. There's just no point. You're going to knock the kid out, and we're getting nothing out of this. You're going to brain dead a kid, and you're going to hurt a kid, not brain. The issue we have is I've been through the worst of boxing. So I've seen kids get put in comas. I've seen kids get put in wheelchairs. I've seen kids not wake up from comas, from sparring. Most of the injuries you see in boxing are from sparring. They're not from fights. They're from sparring, and every boxer will tell you that, and every good coach will tell you that as well. So we have an obligation to look after people. So when someone says to me, proper sparring is 5 rounds, well, if you can do them, yeah. But if you can't do 5 rounds, then I wouldn't put you for 5 rounds. Unless, of course, I didn't like you. And then it's, sure, no problem. But it's not, I think the professional part of being a coach is to know that you've got to look after kids and people trust you and your judgment and keeping them safe. And that's part of boxing. So all the banter that these guys are saying, first of all, Gibb is a lovely guy and his coach is a lovely guy. They're all nice guys. Irrelevant to the truth. The truth was exactly what I just said. And they messaged JJ afterwards saying, there are levels, bro. Thank you so much. You were amazing. So there is an element of banter to it. But I think that the difference is the idea to make a claim that we're shock tanking someone and making it unsafe. It's a little bit disrespectful for me. And that's something that I'm not comfortable with because the last 30 years I've made a living out of being a respectable coach. And no one in the whole boxing industry has a bad word to say about me, nor the fight game. I've main evented every single show on the planet, from matchroom shows to Queensbury shows to UFCs to Prize to Bellators to PF, everything. I've main evented every show on the planet, on every country. So the idea that someone says that we're shock tanking people, you're your own man with your coaching team. You're well within your rights and capable to say, I'm done here sparring now, and that'll be fine. And so you can't get forced to do anything. So I think the idea that Gibb said that, I think he's talking utter shit. And I think maybe that's just his ego getting in the way. He's a lovely guy, and he boxed really well the other night, and I thought he was going to win, and he did win. And congratulations to him and his team. But with the regard to sparring, he's more than welcome, and whoever, respectfully, to roll up any time and spar. No problem. If they've got a point to prove, give me a phone call. They've all got my numbers. We can arrange it and get it done and film it, no problem. And that stuff's irrelevant to me. But yeah, I mean, the rules are, as much as we don't talk about sparring, if there's a defamation of character, if it's them saying that I'm shock tanking someone, I'll call you out on it. That's absolute bullshit. And your coach was standing next to you. You both thanked me afterwards for the spar. Thanked JJ.
Who was the coach?
Leon.
Right.
Yeah, Leon, Gibbs' coach. Yeah, one of Gibbs' coaches was there. They both thanked us for the spar, said it was great, and everyone was calm. It was all calm. It was all cool. So I definitely feel like there's definitely a banter that they're, no one wants to lose face. Now that it's the cat's out of the bag, I was there coaching JJ. His coach was there. JJ pieced him up, rattled him, got nothing in return, and we didn't want there to be an unsafe environment, so we pulled him out. And then he asked to do some more work with a lighter boxer because he didn't want to just come and do 2 rounds and get beaten up. And I was like, sure, he'll be here if you want him to. It's like one of 20 guys I have in the gym at any time that can spar, and just moved him around. So there's no shark tanks happen when you get forced to do something you don't want to do, or your coach is putting you in for it to give you a rough day. I'm not his coach. And I don't care if he did 1 round, 2 rounds, or 20 rounds. I couldn't care less. I just care about my guys and what they do. But I don't want to be involved in an unsafe environment.
Mm-hmm. So no, it's fair enough. You got to say your kind of side of the story. It's only fair enough to explain it all. Was KSI in the gym today, though? Yeah, we've had JJ every day this week. Oh, wow. So he's back every day in Qatar. Right. Some days were twice a day. And then trained Sunday
and Monday, and then a little bit of workout today.
What weight is he weighing right now? He's not 200 pounds anymore.
No,
he's not fat anymore.
No, he's not fat anymore. No. We just started to turn to turn the engines back on again. So he's coming down in weight, but I think it's super important that we enter a fight camp with our feet on the ground. So I don't like entering fight camps when you're mad heavy, and then you've got 4 or 5 weeks to cut down the weight. Then you've got an 8-week camp. I'd rather just walk into like 12 weeks and be, ooh, amazing. We can start work now. We can spar now. It's great. So that's kind of where we're at now. So it's good. Good place to be.
I'll just restart the switches off to make sure. A couple more things ready to go. Opponents wise, you guys, I think Mam said 98% confirmed. You got a person that he's training with on his mind. When he punched the bag, now he's got someone's face on it. Yeah, definitely has someone's face on it. How long to the announcement?
It should be any time soon, and it's a huge fight. So it's a really, really big, interesting, fun matchup that will whet a lot of appetites, and people will understand why he wanted that fight. You know, it'll be a good benchmark for everybody. So.
Okay, interesting, certainly. Well, one more person I want to talk about. Let's just touch on your stable real quick before I let you go. Ashley Rak-Su, he's still training down here.
Yeah, actually taken some time off since the last fight. Hasn't been training too much, but he was training well and arguably took on one of the tougher guys in the division with Tristan. And had a good scrap. So I'm sure he'll be back next year. But he's another guy that you could stick in there with the likes of Slim, Gibbs, or Papi. He's one of those guys because he only got beaten by Anthony Taylor, right? In his first ever fight, not knowing what he was doing.
One of the biggest mismatches. Well, when you look back at it, it wasn't considered as big a mismatch, but now you look at it, you think, wow.
Well, I think
like the skill level at that stage.
Yeah, I think you've also got to remember you have a kid with Ashley that had no idea how to box, and he wasn't in like a boxing stable that was producing fighters. So he was probably quite good in that gym. And then you had Anthony Taylor, who was a boxer who boxed Tommy Fury, and who had MMA fights, and it was just quite a big step for Ashley to do at the beginning. And I think it was like the first shot he got dropped, and he was like, oh, what's going on? Didn't know where he was. So I think from that fight, look how much he's improved. Yeah. I think how he beat Kenny, and then how he beat OJ Rose fight was a tough one, draw, but I thought he did a very good job in it. And again, Tristan, he's not had an easy run.
No, he's definitely taken the tougher fights, indeed, like Idris Virgo has as well. When we see Idris come back out, the pro champion.
I would argue I'd like to see him on the January 18th card with Tommy Fury and Darren Till. I think obviously he's not a big enough name to command the winner of that fight. Obviously,
could you not fight Roman Fury?
It'd be a great fight. Yeah, I mean any of these fights would be great. I mean we have an absolutely a policy with Idris Virgo. Anyone, anytime, whatever the bosses want, we do. He doesn't care about weight. He doesn't care about. He doesn't even care about purse that much. He's ready to fight. So I think if you were to say that Idris could fight on that card against whoever, and the loser of the Till Fury fight would be quite an interesting fight for Idris. And that's quite how you'd match that fight.
Who are you picking for Till and Fury?
I'd love Till to win because I'm a Till fan. I like him. I think he's a good guy. But the boxer, you just haven't seen enough of Till to say that he can box at that level. Obviously, MMA range and boxing range are different. A lot of time, people can be better boxers when they're just doing boxing because they don't have to worry about the kicks and the takedowns, so it can be a bit more grounded. But he just hasn't fought in a while. So I would like Till to win. I'm just not a huge Tommy Fury fan. All right. So I'd love Till to win. Yeah, no, look, I'm a big, I like Darren. I think he's a good guy, and I think that he's good size for the fight. The fight's a heavyweight. So they're both cruising around like 220, 230, maybe even bigger, to be honest with you, because the fight's sanctioned to 205?
Yes, I believe so.
It's enormous.
They'll both be knackered by round 3. Do you know what I think? They'll both be so tired by round 3 or 4.
It depends. I reckon they're going to have enough pasta and carbs. It might be all right. It should be interesting. But I'd like Till to win. I'm not sure if he's going to, but I definitely might. I definitely would prefer him to win.
And KSI fights the winner of that one.
I think definitely. I mean, trying to get our hands on Tommy Fury he doesn't want it. Arguably, forget whether you think it was a win or a loss. It was too close for him. He didn't land any good shots. He didn't drop JJ. He didn't bloody him up. He didn't do it. And he got out with the skin of his teeth. So he just wants to get paid massive amounts of money for it. And I think that...
A few more things just on Tommy Fury. I guess he'll be the heavy favourite for the night. But Darren being quite awkward and KSI being very awkward, is that potential to cause problems?
I don't think Darren's that awkward, if I'm honest with you. No, I think he's just a southpaw.
Right.
And some people find southpaws awkward.
He's got MMA kind of style.
Yeah, but not when he boxes, I don't think.
Right.
I think he's going to box quite traditional. I don't think he'll box in a hands-down, funky kind of way. The thing about boxers are, when you fight a boxer in a traditional manner, they're used to doing that and seeing that, and they have set plays and reactions and checks and moves that they do. When you fight them slightly unorthodox, they're a bit lost.
Right.
I think that's how you catch some of the guys out. And we tried to do that with Tommy, and it worked out really well for us. But I think for our next fight, depending on who it is, you've got to have a hybrid of a style. You've got to be able to do that kind of style. You've got to be able to sit down on your punches, stay in close, check hooks. You've got to be able to do a bunch of stuff. But again, it takes ages to learn that sort of stuff. People spend a lifetime to learn that sort of stuff. So it's not as clear cut. But I think that Tommy Fury statistically stands a better chance of beating Darren Till. I want Darren Till to win, but at the same time, smart money would be on Tommy.
That's fair enough. Fair enough indeed. It'll be good. Be a good show in January. I'm sure we'll be there. Anything else before the year ends? Anything else coming for you?
Yeah, we've got I think I've got 4 more fights coming up at the end of this year on the 21st, and then we go straight into February with Michael Page in Saudi fighting. Hopefully by the time this comes out, it's a big UFC fight.
Okay, that'll be good, if not.
Yeah, it's a big UFC fight, so that'll come out, and then the week after that, we're main event in Manchester for the Last Dance with Derek Chisora in England, his last fight in England. That'll be Manchester Co-op Arena. It's a huge fight, and then obviously roll straight on to the next month. We're in March. We're in JJ's fight. So busy times, non-stop, with all the other fights in between. Yeah.
All right. Well, Alexis, as always, thanks very much. I do appreciate you giving me your time as always.
Thank you. Cheers.